What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news update video. And Liverpool will make a second improved bid for Sesko and Isak. That was confirmed by various journalists, including Craig Hope, who is a Newcastle based journalist, and he has a great insight into this whole transfer saga. But first, of course, Liverpool want to be respectful to Newcastle. Richard Hughes are good friends with Eddie Howe, so we don't want to upset Newcastle too much. Liverpool are waiting for Newcastle to get the Benjamin Sesko and Visa deals over the line, but Newcastle are taking absolute ages. Are you guys as frustrated as me about Newcastle failing to get any of their transfer targets? Again, they bid for Benjamin Sesko 75 million euros plus 5 million add-ons, but Leipzig rejected that and they want more money. And also they want a sell-on clause inserted, so the striker market is very inflated. But Craig Hope, and that's the great news today, that the Craig Hope has confirmed that Liverpool have not walked away from a deal for Sesko and Isak, and they will submit a second improved offer, which could be worth £120 million base fee plus another 10 to 15 million pounds of add-ons, so it could go up to 135 million pounds. And I think, in my opinion, if Newcastle get Benjamin Sesko and Visa, then they will accept that offer, because they just spent 110 million pounds potentially on both players combined, and they would need to recoup some of that money. And also, even though the rumor is that Sesko and Isak will go back to Newcastle and start training with them, he still wants a Liverpool move. And Liverpool basically did this whole bidding just to show Sesko and Isak that we are very, very serious about getting him, and we are not afraid. Liverpool is not afraid to make a club record bid and a British transfer record bid for Sesko and Isak. So Craig Hope is reporting that Liverpool are basically waiting for Newcastle to get the Benjamin Sesko and Visa deals over the line. So come on, Newcastle, just get it done. What is taking you so long? And it's so ironic that the Newcastle fans are saying to Liverpool, just pay what Newcastle wants, pay the 150 million. Yet they are not paying the 50 million that Brentford want for Visa. They are not paying the 100 million euros that Leipzig want for Benjamin Sesko. So they are pretty much hypocrites, aren't they? If you are saying one thing with Isak and Liverpool, then you say another thing with Leipzig and Sesko, or with Brentford and Visa. Liverpool will know that they are wasting their time if they make an offer right now, a second offer, while Newcastle are still trying to get these deals over the line. Liverpool basically need to wait for Newcastle to get the Benjamin Sesko deal over the line. Newcastle made, an 80 million euro offer for Sesko, and it looks like that was rejected by Leipzig. So now Newcastle have a big decision to make. Do they go higher? And I think they have to go higher. Man United are also in talks with Leipzig, but they haven't tabled an official bid yet. So Newcastle are deeper in this Benjamin Sesko transfer saga than Man United are, but they need to get this over the line, because if they wait too long, if they don't improve their bid, then Man United could swoop in. And I think Benjamin Sesko will prefer Man United to Newcastle, just because of how historic and how huge Man United are, and also because of they probably can give Sesko higher wages than Newcastle can. And it looks like Isak has went back to Newcastle on the weekend, and he might start training on Monday. And those first training sessions will be mightily awkward because of the whole saga. And Eddie Howe actually confirmed it in the press conference, that he only found out Isak is in Spain through the media. So can you imagine Isak turning up for training, and Eddie Howe was like, "What the hell, Alexander, where were you for the past week?" He didn't even contact the Newcastle officials, he didn't speak with the manager, everything. So that's hugely disrespectful. And there are already noises coming out of Newcastle that some players don't even want Sesko and Isak training, they think that the club should sanction Sesko and Isak the other Newcastle players think that Alexander Isak should be punished for his behavior, even though he is Newcastle's star player, he's their talisman, he's their best player, their biggest asset. You still have to punish him for, breaching all kinds of contractual obligations, not turning up to training, not even picking up the phone for Newcastle officials. So it will be a very awkward few days for Alexander Isak. But ultimately, he wants to do this, and he wants to do as much as he can so he can get this transfer to Liverpool done. And Eddie Howe was actually asked, did Liverpool unsettle Alexander Isak? And Eddie Howe's answer was, it's difficult because you don't know what is going to happen from this point. We can only deal with the reality. The reality is we had the first bid from Liverpool, and that was turned down. From this point onwards, let's see what happens. In terms of trying to upset players and all that kind of stuff, from my perspective, Eddie Howe said, we can only talk about our conduct. We try to do things in the right way. Signing players is always complex. We just try to do what we think is right. I can't talk about other clubs. That's not for me to say. Newcastle did the same with Johan Visa. Johan Visa is not training with Brentford. He is training alone, and he went on strike, just like Alexander Isak went on strike with Newcastle. So, it's a very, very interesting situation. Ben Jacobs also posted an interesting update. I'm not sure how credible he is, but he said that right now there are no plans from Liverpool to bid again as it stands, unless Newcastle offer encouragement. I think Liverpool just want to be respectful, and they want to show Newcastle that we will wait until you get some strikers in. Not the same as walking away, Ben Jacobs said. So Liverpool haven't walked away from this deal. If the door opens, Liverpool will be there. There is a long month ahead. We just started August, so there is still 28, 29 days of the transfer window left. It all depends on Newcastle and the potentially replacements arriving and how hard Isak is prepared to push for this transfer. Newcastle have tried already with a new contract offer, promising Isak that he could leave next summer, inserting a release clause into his new potential contract. So I think that Newcastle are trying everything to get this deal done. The feeling within Newcastle is it's exit or a new deal with staying on current terms. That's untenable. This was not the case in May. Newcastle didn't expect Isak to avoid pre-season, but that's exactly what he did, and I think that strengthens Liverpool's hand as well. But read between the lines, guys. Newcastle are preparing for life after Isak for weeks, maybe even for months. You are not chasing Ekitike, João Pedro, Oli Watkins, Benjamin Sesko, top-level strikers, unless you expect your top-level striker to leave. So the Sesko-Isak partnership fantasy is a smoke. Eddie Howe plays a 4-3-3 formation, and he has barely has the midfield for that. So the two strikers won't fit into this system. And Isak's camp leaked the initial contact from Liverpool because they were fed up with Newcastle's posturing, and also they were fed up with Newcastle promised Isak a new contract last summer, and they didn't give him that. And Liverpool actually are very calm in this situation because they know that Isak wants to sign for Liverpool, and it's a tactic showing Newcastle that we will wait until you get your strikers in, and then we will launch a second improved British record transfer fee, transfer bid. I think Isak is for sale because Newcastle don't really want to keep him. Keith Downey of Sky Sports is reporting that Newcastle and Leipzig are in talks for Sesko. Leipzig haven't rejected this 80 million euro offer, but also haven't accepted it yet. They are negotiating on some of the payment terms. Maybe I was wrong that this offer got rejected. Looks like that they are just still trying to agree on a payment structure. Sesko's agent traveled to Leipzig for these talks with the German club. So Sesko is open to both Newcastle and Man United, and he will make a decision in the coming days. But I'm not sure if Newcastle are doing this right, because Newcastle actually sent Frankfurt an offer for Ekitike before agreeing personal terms with Ekitike himself. And they are doing the same with Leipzig. They sent an offer to the club before agreeing terms with Sesko. Will it fail again? If a player is not really wanting to come to your club, why not go after those players who might? But the thing is, Newcastle are desperate. They went after so many players, and they still haven't got a striker. So Newcastle are absolutely desperate for this deal to go through. And Ben Jacobs is also reporting that Brentford are ready to let Johan Visa leave and to join Newcastle, providing they can sign a striker replacement. So their not for sale position, it has softened from the beginning of the window. Visa didn't play in Brentford's friendly, but the club and the player are now working towards an exit. In August, Newcastle are prepared to place a new bid. Visa's priority is Champions League football, and Brentford just wants to get rid of Visa so they can sign a replacement striker. And just a word on Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez wants to leave, and Liverpool are working to find a solution. That's what Fabrizio Romano reports. Liverpool continue to ask around 65 million euros for Darwin Nunez. That's around 55 million pounds. But the market doesn't move. So this amount might have to come down slightly. Al Hilal are very keen to sign him, and they have made contact with Nunez and with Liverpool. It remains to be seen whether an agreement can be reached. They are working on Darwin Nunez's side first before submitting an offer to Liverpool. So AC Milan haven't made any contact with Liverpool. They just talked with Darwin Nunez. So at the moment, the most likely scenario is that Darwin Nunez can go to Saudi Arabia, but yeah, it's a very delicate situation. So I think the most likely scenario is that Newcastle get Benjamin Sesko and Johan Visa in the door before Liverpool make their second improved bid for Alexander Isak. I'm hoping that if Newcastle get this Sesko and Visa deals over the line, then I think Liverpool will sign Alexander Isak. If not, it becomes more difficult. But I will keep you guys updated. Luis Diaz also made his debut for Bayern Munich. He played pretty well, even though he missed some good chances against Lyon. The Lyon goalkeeper made a couple of good saves. He still won a penalty for Bayern Munich, and he had a decent display for them. But it reminded me of some of the big chances that Luis Diaz made for Liverpool as well. And that's it for today's Alexander Isak and Liverpool transfer news update. That's the latest news around the situation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.